Good morning. Did it say I was live? Okay. Good morning. Good morning. And as you get here, make sure that you say hello as I'm spending a few moments or just a moment to get everything activated. Let me know that you're here. All right. So one more. And as you get one more thing. All right, let me get this set up. All right, all right. I wish I had went and fixed me another cup of coffee before I got started. I'm very low on my coffee right now. I have to take baby sips so it'll last. So I hope you are having a magnificent morning today already and beautiful Saturday. I went out for a little short walk this morning. And as I was out walking, I was quite surprised that it felt pretty comfortable with, of course, I had on a lot of sweats and all this stuff, but it felt so good to be outside and to feel the breeze and the crisper air, and it was just magnificent way to begin my day, right? And so as you get here, make sure that you say hello and let me know that you're here. And I just realized I have not loaded my, that sounds kind of strange. I have not copied and pasted my affirmation and journal prompt in to the, my journal prompt looks a lot longer when I put it over there. All right, so I am going to share our affirmation for today. And I will share, as I got up this morning, I had beautiful dreams last night. I don't remember them, but I remember them feeling very pleasant, right? And we're getting to where we're getting close to the new year 2025. And as I'm thinking about all that, as I woke up this morning, the pleasant feeling of the dreams and all of that, I was thinking, where did my paper go? I had it written down on a piece of paper. Where did I start with it? Anyway, my thoughts that hit me this morning as I was, here it is. See, I find random pieces of paper to write things down on, and then I forget where I put them. So anyway, as I got up and everything, the thought that was in my mind was this phrase: today I begin my most magnificent adventure. That was just what popped in my head. And I thought I need to write that down. So I did. And that's how this affirmation came about this morning, because I don't know about you, but I am ready for that most magnificent adventure. I don't really know what all that is. None of us do, right? But it's about to be 2025. And I don't want to wait till 2025 to have that magnificent adventure. Of course, it'll be going through the process. But man, oh man, I want to start today, right? It's changing that mindset, right? So our affirmation for today is: today I embark on my most magnificent adventure filled with excitement, curiosity, and endless possibilities, because I am ready to embrace every moment with an open heart. Now, I know that's long. However, it felt like it was just the full essence of what I was feeling when I woke up this morning. And I don't know about you. I don't know what you were feeling when you woke up this morning. But wouldn't this be nice to have as a feeling for your day, for your week? Just think about it. If every day you woke up and you were ready to just grasp the most magnificent adventure of your life. And you felt excited and curious. I don't know how the hell that's going to happen, but I'm ready. And just being open to all the endless possibilities. Because one of the things that we talk about quite a lot is, we go through life with a filter of how we see the world, right? Because there are 50 billion bits of information that come around us and to us all the time per second, because everything in the world emits an energy. Everything that is going on around us, we would go berserk if we were privy to every single little thing that's going on. The little sound, the little bug, the this, the that, right? And so our magnificent brains have the ability to filter out the things that it feels are not pertinent to you. That's why, if you've been, let's say you live by a train track, and when you first move there, the train coming through will just grate your nerves, right? But after you've lived there for a while, you no longer hear the train. Now, people come and visit, they say, oh my gosh, how can you stand living by the train track? And you say, it doesn't seem to bother me. And it's because your magnificent brain has been able to filter out that noise because it doesn't matter. And so that's what our brains do for the things that are going on around us all the time. It filters out the things that it thinks are not pertinent to you. And how does it figure that out? By the things that have happened in your past, the thoughts and the feelings that you've had, how you show up in the world, what you think is important, what your subconscious mind thinks is important, right? And so it filters that 50 billion bits of information down to 2,000. What a difference, right? So what are the 2,000 bits of information that you see every day? Per second, right? It's not 2,000 for the day, it's 2,000 per second. What are those things, right? The things that we habitually do, the things that we habitually think, that 2,000 supports all of that. So if we feel a certain way about the world, it's going to give us all the things that support that idea. It's going to filter out anything that goes against that. Isn't that amazing to think about? And I know there's a few people here that are watching. I would love it if you would chime in. Let's see what's going on over here. So I'd love to know, how does that feel to think about that we have that 2,000 bits of information per second, but all we have to do to change the things that we see, the things that show up, remember, like the train track, we no longer hear it anymore because we filtered it out. What in your life are you filtering out that might benefit you to see, to know, to hear, right? So just think about it. And what happens when you really adopt a new thought, like today I embark on my most magnificent adventure, filled with excitement, curiosity, and endless possibilities. I am, and remember, anything that comes after I am is ultra powerful. I am ready to embrace every moment with an open heart. Now, just by adopting that, just by saying it, it really didn't do a lot, right? You really have to give it some emotion to feel it and to say, oh, I own that, right? And when you do that, your 2,000 bits of information per second will change, because everything is then coming together to make this a true statement. So you'll see opportunities, possibilities that you wouldn't have seen prior to this. Now, doesn't that feel amazing? So you're opening up the things that are attracted to you. You're becoming that magnet for what you really want in your life, because it's um, energy. Everything is energy, right? And so have you noticed that if you get up in the morning or something happens during the day and suddenly you have a little bit of it's like something aggravates you. Let's go with that one, whether it's in traffic or whatever it is. And once you get aggravated, and if you're really, really thinking hard about it and you're feeling it in your gut, so many things are going to happen from that point on to aggravate you more, because you're attracting them, because your 2000 bits have now become ultra focused on aggravation. So, how do we change that? If you're going through your day and suddenly you realize that you're in this pit of aggravation, how do you get out of it? Well, you can't do it instantaneously, because like you can't stop a moving train and stop, right? It depends on how long you've been feeling the aggravation. But you can begin to bring yourself out by just changing a few little thoughts to just kind of slow it down a little bit and actually create the thoughts and the feelings that will start changing those 2000 bits. So I love this affirmation, and I know I say that all the time, but I do. Because this feels so good in my soul. And, it doesn't matter what's going on, because, those that have been around a while, a few days ago, I was having a little bit of a meltdown because of some things that were going on. Those things are not solved. They're still there. But I was able to get myself out of the place of being so immersed in the situation. And when you can step outside of whatever's going on just enough to clear your thoughts and change the direction of your 2000 bits of information, life will feel so much better. And it's not being Pollyanna, but it could be. It's not putting your head in the sand, but it could be. But is wallowing in it going to be helpful? No. It's going to give you more things that feel like that to wallow in. And I, for one, do not want to be there. I would rather take a more purposeful view of how I want my life to be and go toward that. Because, like I shared the other day, you cannot get sick enough to help sick people. You can't get miserable enough to help miserable people. You can't get poor enough to help poor people. So by wallowing in it and staying immersed in the problem, you can't help anybody, yourself included, right? But if you can find the way to really, really just tap into a new thought for today and just see what comes up, right? It's all an experiment. We don't know. It's a game. It's a process. And we don't want to know exactly how everything's going to happen. We want to be a little bit of an adventure, right? We want to make it magnificent. And so how do we do that? We start here. So start today, looking for that most magnificent adventure of your life. I mean, what if in 2025, let's say June 2025, you open up your journal and you're looking at it and you say, "Oh my gosh, all of the adventures that I thought about, I've done so many of them. And my life has become this place that I'm so happy to be. I could not even have imagined all the things that I thought I were imagined. It's so much better." So, how do we get there? Right? How do we get there? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share the journal prompt. And I just realized when I put it in this little square here that it's a big, so it probably won't all show up. So I'll fill you in. And then when you go back and you look in the group at the recording, it will have in the description, it'll have the full journal prompt. But I promise I'll tell you. Let's see. Yeah, it leaves out a little bit, but it's okay. It's okay. All right, so now our journal prompt. What if your most magnificent adventure is waiting to be discovered? I mean, what if? Then what does your most magnificent adventure look like? If you could just pop into your imagination and you weren't afraid that something wouldn't work, if you weren't scared that somebody would say, "Who do you think you are to dream that big?" Oh my gosh, you've got to be out of your mind. And maybe somebody would say something like, "That's not possible. I know who you are. That's not possible." Or maybe you're fortunate enough to have someone say, "Oh, that sounds magnificent. I'm ready to watch you with that magnificent adventure. Can I come along?" Maybe, right? So make a list of all the roads you'd love to explore if you truly believed anything was possible. If you truly believed anything was possible, what would you do? If you couldn't fail, what would you do? What adventure would you think 2025 would be for you? And sometimes we have to go back and look at the dreams that we've dreamed from a long time ago. And we talked about this the other day. The dreams that we've dreamed when we were young, oh my gosh. Most of the times we get away from them. We move away from them. We become adults. We have children. We have jobs. We have responsibilities. We have homes. We have cars. We have all these things that take our focus, and our dreams kind of take a back seat because we're busy, right? And maybe you're a person, because I don't know you personally. I might know somebody. I don't know. But maybe you've had dreams that have come to fruition. But what happens when you reach your goal, your dream? You have a new one. So if you've reached that pinnacle dream place and nothing new is coming up, start it now, because life is supposed to be fun and an adventure. And let's just really embrace that, right? Let's look at what's coming up for us can be this amazing adventure if we choose it to be. So what do you choose? What if the most magnificent adventure for you is just waiting to be discovered? It's just right here. And your 2000 bits so far hasn't let you see it. It's just at 2002, right? And you just can't see it. But when you become open and you're ready and you focus on, I'm ready, then it's going to be at 199, right? 1999, I think. Yeah, 1999. So just look at it. Then it's kind of at the edge. But if you keep being open and believing and wanting and choosing, then it's going to be right smack in the middle, right in your vision, right? And you're going to see it so quickly. All the different little synchronicities that are going to happen to bring that to life. That magnificent adventure of your life. And one of the things that has kept me on this journey, even though there was for a long time when I first started as a health coach and then a life coach, it felt like nothing was moving. I was getting some changes, but I wasn't able to help anybody. It was like crickets, right? When I would be talking, and it was like, I don't know, maybe I should just give up on this thing, right? But I would still, as soon as I would think something like that, something would happen. Somebody would say something that let me see that it was working. It just wasn't working fast, right? And sometimes our magnificent adventure takes a little time because we've got to learn, we've got to grow, we've got to become the person that can handle the success of it, or to handle the stress of something, to just handle it inside and continue to believe, continue to have that, pay attention to those gut instincts, to have our intuition, our God voice all there, right? So we can feel it and see it. So, what is the most magnificent adventure for you? What would it look like as you're dreaming and you're expanding that 2,000 bits to be who you want to be, who you choose to be? Remember, or for those that don't know, I am a transformational coach and a hypnotist. And one of the things that I share when I'm working with a new person for hypnosis and coaching is I share that, the time between birth and 7 creates so much in your life. That's where everything is based on as you get older. And you don't consciously think, oh man, when I was 2, my parents let me cry right there. And I cried and I cried and I cried. And I thought nobody was ever coming. But you make choices as an adult with that little thing in the back of your mind. Maybe you were in school at 6 and you drew a picture and somebody said, what is that? And you said, oh, that's an airplane. And they said, that's not an airplane. That looks stupid. And then you make choices as an adult that I can't draw. I'm not an artist. Don't ask me to do that. That wouldn't be fun. I couldn't do it. You don't consciously go back and think, oh, because they told me that, right? But so much of what goes on within us can be linked right back to that time between birth and 7. And there's so much scientific information out there about the same thing. So just research it. Don't just believe me. I mean, I didn't believe this first time I heard all of that. I thought, well, that's kind of silly because there's so much happened since then. But it's like, that's the basis. That's like your base, like your foundation that you're standing on. And maybe it's time to look back, or not even look back, but to expand outside of that, to begin to make this change for your most magnificent adventure without all of that right back here feeding you. And that's something that I help people with all the time. And the beauty of doing it with hypnosis is that I'm not taking them back to remember exactly what it was that happened. I don't have to do that. I can help them to replace those emotions and those thoughts and feelings. And I tell people all the time, I don't go in and just extract things out of your mind. No, I don't do that at all. And that's not really possible. And even though I've had people say, just make me forget that ever happened. And, the thing is that the things that have happened to us in our lives are there for a reason. You know how I said that sometimes things happen slow because you've got to grow and you've got to learn? Well, what if you had a memory of something that you just didn't like and you couldn't seem to get over. And suddenly somebody took that memory away, and then you repeated it over and over and over again. That wouldn't be useful, would it? So what we do, or I do as a hypnotist, is I help you as you decide the things in your life that maybe were not so good, that are holding you back. I help you to take out the emotional attachment to it so that you don't have that gut feeling as if it's happening again. You keep the learning. It's still a memory, but it doesn't seem to just wreck your day, right? If you remember it. But not only that, we put in a new supportive idea, something amazing to help you in your life in its place, are joined with it. And so it's magnificent. But our brains, like I said, are so amazing at what they will help us to filter out and what they will help us to see. So I'm going to go back to our affirmation for today. Today, I embark on my most magnificent adventure filled with excitement, curiosity, and endless possibilities. I am ready to embrace every moment with an open heart. And I know that one's long. So you pick and choose. What do you want to put on your sticky note, your index card, the screensaver on your phone? Put it, if you want to put the whole thing, put the whole thing. Sometimes I put it on my mirror with a chalk marker, and sometimes I have to condense it because otherwise it'd take up the whole mirror, right? But you choose. How is this going to be the best used for you? Where do you need to put it? And if you need to condense it, how is it going to support you the most? You decide. And then our journal prompt. And what I recommend is that you have a notebook or a journal, and you use it for our daily activities, or our daily affirmations and journal prompts. And then you put the date, the affirmation, and the journal prompt. And then once you've written it down, you take 10 minutes of just silence. You're not meditating. You're not doing anything other than getting into this present moment. You're silent. You're quiet. You can just focus on your breath. And what you're really wanting to do is let that conscious stuff that's always, always, always going, you want to quiet it down so that you can hear your intuition, your subconscious mind, your God voice. Because most of the time we can't hear that stuff going on because we're so much chatter going on in our mind all the time. And so once you get quiet, spend 10 minutes, set a timer, 5, 10 minutes. 10 minutes is usually better. 15's even more. And just get comfortable in total silence. And you don't even have to be thinking about what this journal prompt is. All you have to do is just be quiet. And as soon as you notice that your thoughts are starting to wander, because they will, then you just come back to focusing on your breath. And then when the timer goes off, then you just open up and just write down everything that comes up. No judgment. Don't critique it at all. Just pour it out. Write down everything. And some of it, if you pay attention to it, you're going to think, I don't want to write that one down. That's too hard. I don't want to write that one down. That seems ridiculous. I don't want to write that one down. But write it all down regardless of what you feel in the moment about it. Just write it down. It's just allowing your thoughts to come out on paper. And it's just for you. Nobody else has to see it. And then once you've written out what is the most magnificent adventure that's waiting to be discovered, what could that be? What does that magnificent adventure look like? What does it look like? So when you think about beginning this most magnificent adventure, what comes to mind? What images pop up? What emotions? What dreams? And then describe them in as much detail as possible. And then as I'm thinking about it, what does the word magnificent mean to you personally? What does it mean? And how does that define the unique nature of the adventure you're about to embark on? And then I want you to think about what fears or doubts. Remember our from 0 to 7, the things that are in the back of our mind that don't help us, right? What are those fears and doubts that are holding you back from really, really embracing that adventure? And then imagine yourself, like I said, imagine it's June 2025. And looking back, what transformations, lessons, growth do you hope to have experienced? Just write out whatever comes up. Just pour it out today. And then if you want to take it a step further, maybe once you've got all of that done, list out 3 steps that you can take today to set it in motion, right? And or what small but meaningful action can you commit to right now? I mean, what would be just one step that you could take? So let's say, for instance, one of your adventure things is that you would love to travel. And then as you're thinking about this travel and you're thinking of all the obligations and things that you have because you could not take the time to travel, especially because maybe you're like me. One of the things that I've wanted to do for as long as I can remember is to travel to different places, not just as a vacationer for like a week or something, right? I would like to travel to a place and stay for 30 days or more. I mean, I know I've had one client that, I know more than one that has been where they have adventures to where they go to a location and they stay there for a few months. And one woman, she actually lives in Dubai 6 months out of the year. It didn't start out that way, but that's how she does now, right? So if your thing was travel and you wanted to list something that you could do to start taking that action, it's not booking the trip. No, so that would be like too much, whoa, too fast, right? I mean, it could possibly be, but for most of us, that's not the first step. The first step is deciding where you'd like to go, and then maybe looking it up online and just immersing yourself in some of the history of the place. Getting to know it, almost as if it's a romantic partner. You would get to know them a little bit. So get immersed in the ideas, some of the scenery, some of the culture, some of the stories. Start there. Now that doesn't feel like that would be so hard, right? But man, oh man, that is going to open up those 2,000 bits like you would not believe. So that would be a small but meaningful action you could commit to right now, right? So what is it that's coming up for you? What is that dream, right? What if by doing that in June 2025, that's when you're traveling? Who knows? But then if you really want to immerse yourself into it for just a moment, let's see where we are on time. Just right now, as we're doing this, take a moment, as long as you're not driving or anything like that, and just close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths. And then visualize the adventure unfolding before you, not as a distant dream, but as a living, breathing possibility that begins right now today with that one little step. It starts now in this moment. And then I want you to write a letter of encouragement to yourself, celebrating the courage it takes to begin something new and extraordinary. And maybe write it as if it's June of 2025. What could you tell them in the future? What would you tell you now to give you some support, some courage to actually dream, to dream big, right? Because this can completely unlock the gateway to the most extraordinary journey. You can deep dive into the landscape of your dreams, your fears, and that untapped courage as you start to prepare for embarking on this magnificent adventure that's there for you. The only thing holding you back is that you haven't made that first step. You haven't chosen. And maybe you haven't believed. But what if your most magnificent adventure is just waiting to be discovered? It's calling your name. What does it look like? And then just begin to write and brain dump everything that can come up. You're going to be so glad that you did. So let today be the day. Mark it on your calendar. Put it somewhere that says, that's the day my adventure changed. That's the day I did things intentionally to open up my mind to all the adventures that could be mine. All I have to do is choose. So, all right, well, I went a little bit longer today, but I will be here tomorrow at 10 a.m. with a new affirmation and journal prompt. And I would love for you to join in with me again tomorrow. And thank you for being here alive. And thank you, anyone who comes in and watches the replay, put #replay and just play along. Tell me, are you willing to change and really jump into the most magnificent adventure that's waiting for you? What would it be? And the letter to you now, as you are in June of 2025, we're going to look at that. In 2025, you are writing a letter back to you today in support and knowledge and comfort, right? Letting you know how it looks. Write that out. And when you do, you don't have to share it with anybody. But if you would, either send me a direct message that says, I did that letter and it felt good. or put it in the comments that you wrote your letter. I would love to know. And I would even love even more to know how it felt to be corresponding with your future self. Because I'm telling you, you can do it. You're one decision away from changing the entire direct trajectory of your life. All right. So have a magnificent day today, discovering all the possibilities. And I will see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. Mwah.